Hi folks, and welcome back to another episode of CB Rebuilds. Today's video is going to be a brief one, just a status update of the Willys truck. As you can see, we've got some progress made here, and sorry I haven't been filming as much. Been in a little bit of a rush to get this done. So we have the whole front end done here. We've got our indicator lights and parking lights, and then we've got our LED headlights as well. There's a start of a bumper. It will not just be a flat plate, but that's what we've got to start. Move around here, you can see we're starting to get pretty far. We've got our fuel filler right here. We've also got the bed sitting up here. So we got this bed. I bought it from a fellow Jeeper, and we weren't really sure what it came off of, but I'm thinking it came from either a 50s or 60s Chevy or Studebaker, just because it has a very, very similar style, and somebody already modified it to have the Willys tailgate on it. So you can see here we've got the Willys tailgate. The tail lights, of course, are just held on with some zip ties, so they're not actually damaged. They're just have a little bit of compliance to them. So I got the bed cut to length. I just gotta take the front part of the bed where that stake pocket is, and it will fit in right here, and that's going to hide most of the seam. It'll still be a little bit right here, but pretty minor amount that we have to show and really get a really perfect fit, because this seam right here will be halfway through the stake pocket. This bed is it's got a few holes in it, but it's a lot better than anything I've seen, and it was a pretty good price for what we got, and it's nice to have something that we can put some stuff in. Here on the inside, you can see we've got the doors all mounted up. I didn't put the check straps on yet. Still got the wiring going across the floor here. That's just kind of how everything is. I did get the heater hooked up, so we've got the heater core and the blower hooked up. I did have to make a relay system here for the high and low fan, just to interface between the Jeep Cherokee electronics and the original Willys electronics. You can see over here we've got our stock steering wheel. We can come in on both sides, but what we're going to kind of show is that we took the stock Cherokee key switch and we've got it mounted in here, and they're very similar to the original location. We've got the light switch from the Cherokee. We can switch this over with a different knob so that it looks more period correct. We've got our hazard lights. So right here, it's not marked, but you can see that in here that the relay is working to give the four-way flashers if there were hazards. One big thing I wanted to keep was this knob here. So this knob is how you would control your heater. So you pull it in. If you pulled it, it would open the vent and let air come through into the cab. But then this is also a multi-function switch, because if you turn it, you can see it turns the fan on. So there's low, in the middle it's off, and then there's high. So I just thought that was pretty neat, where I was able to keep that kind of original switch and keep the features there. The other thing that's kind of neat in here is my Speed Hut speedometer. So it's a very similar style to the original Willys. This is a CJ 5.5-inch one that Speed Hut offers, and they will customize it down to whatever you want. I didn't really want anything out of the ordinary. The only thing is that my speedometer had single digits. This one has the added 0, which it doesn't bother me. So this one has a lot of the functions that we had in our other gauge, very similar. So we've got the temperature, we've got the fuel gauge. We added a tack in here, so the tack comes up when we start the engine. It also has backlighting, which it's a red backlight is what I chose, so it looks very correct. I chose to go with the GPS speedometer. So the GPS speedometer is a unit. It's a little magnetic unit, kind of looks like a satellite receiver for your XM radio or something like that. But I found that if I just stick it here in the top of the roof, it's able to read, and so I won't have to put any holes or anything crazy. I'll tuck the wire up really good when we're finishing it up, and it'll look really nice. You know, tuck the wire here in the windlace, and then you know, get the wire dropped down here just right, and nobody's really going to know what that wire goes to. This functions just like a normal cluster. So here we can get the turn indicators for right and left. If the lights were on, we have you know, so the lights are on. If we had the bright lights on, there's a blue light up here for bright lights. We also have the parking brake. And so we were getting a lot of the functions that we need. We also have you know, a low fuel light that comes on when it's down in the last quarter, and we have a high temp light if it's a little bit over half, if it's 2/3 through the gauge travel. So that's kind of you know, what we've got inside. That as an update, I was able to get this vehicle registered, and it has insurance, so we are able to take it for drives. My friend and I installed the windshield. We did an okay job. I'll show you kind of what I'm talking about. So here on the windshield, I did get a little bit of a tear in the seals on the corners. I didn't have enough soap in there to lubricate it. So before we get too much further, I think I'm just going to turn on the lights just so you can kind of see, and then I'll turn on a turn signal so you can see the dual function. So I turn on the lights, the keys on, and I'll turn on the right turn signal. So you can see here we've got the low light is on right here on the left hand side. So we've got the low, like the parking light, and then here we've got the flash between the low and the high indicator, and that's all LED. So we've got LED lights for the turn signals and for the headlights, and then on the rear they are like a, I don't know, LED light style. You can see here that they have this running lamp that's like a ring, and then over here we get the running lamp with the signal in the middle, and of course we have reverse lights as well. Again, they're not broken, they're just pushed down from the weight of the bed. Let me grab my hood prop here. We'll get the hood set up. So did add what some people would consider almost stock hood latches. You know, of course the stock one was right here, and you could actuate it through the grill to release it, and then you've got the safety catch right here. The safety catch works fine, but you don't want to rely on that. In here we still got a little bit of wiring that I'm trying to finish up, but we do have the coolant overflow right here. So we've got the coolant overflow that feeds the radiator. We've also got the cruise control servo, so that one needs to be tested out. That's something we just got hooked up today, and my buddy came down and helped me wire that up. So we've got that hooked in, and we got most of the wire running around the front of the grill here, and it doesn't really stand out at all. I did modify the stock Cherokee airbox so that it will sit right in this area right here. It's still a pretty tight fit compared to the power steering pump reservoir, but we're able to get this in here and get filtered air, because I hate to run it down the road without air filter. So we're getting close. We've got, you know, this is the setup we're going to be running. My buddy and I are really trying to make the Gambler in Detroit, and so we won't see many more modifications before the Gambler, but that's kind of our goal. So that's kind of the status update that we have. Oh, I did get exhaust on it, so here I can start it up for you so you can hear it, but it sounds like a stock Cherokee, if you can imagine that. So there's not too much here that is out of place. So we've got, you know, it sounds pretty normal. We've got the JK fuel tank right here. So this is a JK fuel tank out of a 4-door. It fits the frame perfectly. It mounts right in there. Had to get the skid plate for it. And you can see up here we've got, you know, the normal six-cylinder 4-liter, and it runs really nice and smooth, nice and quiet. one thing I did spend a lot of time doing is I did retrofit the Spartan turn signal controller with the Cherokee multi-function switch. That was a little bit of an undertaking, just because we've got quite a bit of wires. That multi-function switch does a lot of functions. It does your four-way, it does your turning, it does your bright lights and everything. So I did break all that out. So we've got the brake light, or the bright light switch, right here on the floor, like it should be in the truck. The turn signals here also go out, and then because of the multi-function part, we had to add this button over here that does the hazard lights, and that's we're able to do that with the use of some diodes. Otherwise we'd backfeed the channels and get flashing lights anytime we turned. So with the use of some diodes and breaking up the circuits, we're able to keep this the way it is, and we can get the original look, but with all the modern features. So that's kind of the update here on the truck. This side kind of shuts hard, but that's what she looks like, and this is what we're hoping to take on the Gambler this year. So just load up, and then we can, you know, just pull the lashes just like you do on your older Willys or Jeeps. So that's the update for today. Hopefully you enjoyed this. It's something I'm getting to be pretty excited about, pretty proud of, that we're nearing the end of this project, and we can